welcome to the Year I Made It podcast. My name is Madison. Thank you guys for tuning back in. Today I'm going to be talking about traveling. I'm going to be talking about traveling tips and tricks. I'm going to be talking about my travel plans for this year. I'm going to be talking about my travel bucket list things for this year and just kind of what that looks like for me. And I really wanted to start by telling you guys about why I love travel and kind of what it's meant to me over the years. So, whenever I was growing up, I grew up with a very spread out family. So, my mom's family lived in different places in North Carolina. My dad's family lived in Florida and Wyoming. So, whenever I was a kid, we spent quite a bit of time in Florida, Wyoming, and kind of surrounding states. And we were fortunate to do a lot of cool things and see a lot of cool things with a lot of our family. So that is one thing that kind of always stood out to me as just a super cool memory and something really positive that I was always able to do growing up. So whenever I became an adult, I was like, man, I want to keep doing this traveling thing. Problem is I was poor. So I have learned a lot of ways to travel for pretty cheap over the years. And so I'm going to share some of those as my tips and tricks for you guys. So one thing that I would recommend doing is I personally have a credit card that I get points for travel. So everything I spend, I get travel points, and I generally use those for plane tickets. So generally what I do is I save all of those, use it for my plane ticket there, and then I just have to pay for whatever else it is while I do there. I also have a Hilton Honors account, and so you can actually get quite a bit of points through the Hilton Honors system, completely free for you to sign up. I also travel through work, so I would say a good amount of my points are because I'm fortunate to get those points from work travel and then be able to redeem those for free nights. So generally what I do is I try to kind of line it up where I'll be able to use my credit card points for the flight and then my Hilton points for the hotel, and then all I have to do is literally pay for whatever it is that I do when I get there. Another thing that I will say about flights as well is I find a lot of these flights on like the super cheap airlines. So I have no problem flying Frontier or Allegiant or Spirit. Put me on the $39 flight. Like, I'm trying to go on the $39 flight because I'm gonna have so much money left over for other things. That's personally how I view it. I know some people are like, nope, I want to fly in comfort. If you're that person, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just personally not, and I can't afford it. So I'm just happy to kind of fly wherever there is good deals and then generally use my credit card points. So another tip I would say is book in advance. So obviously right now, like I feel like specifically this year, plane tickets are going up so much. I have no idea why, but there's a couple places that I've been like just looking at flights for probably like over like the past year or so, different places I want to go. And I've noticed some of them are increasing pretty substantially, especially if you're not booking pretty far out. So that's another tip, especially if you're going to book around holidays. I personally love to do that. I have a like corporate job, so I have holidays off, of course, and so generally I do try to combine holidays and then PTO so that way I can make it a little bit more feasible. So if you're going to travel around the holidays, definitely I would say try to book in advance and definitely save up them points to help because things are always very expensive around the holidays when you travel. I think another tip and trick is if you're traveling in a big group, always cheaper to do an Airbnb compared to getting a bunch of hotel rooms. So Airbnb or Vrbo, I think those are always really great investments. And generally the place that you get to stay at, the home that you rent, generally way cooler than any hotel you would have gotten, especially if it's a large group and you guys can all kind of put in to afford a nice place. So I wanted to talk about what I'm going to be doing in 2023, my travel plans, my bucket list, and then also just like some of the things that I'm super excited about. So one of the reasons I love to travel is culture, experiences, sightseeing, seeing new places. I just almost feel like there's like a travel high, like when you go somewhere new and you're just like bebopping around looking at somewhere new and it's super beautiful and fun and you're just living your best life. So that like kind of feeling, I guess, is what I love about traveling. And then of course being able to see new places. So this year I have a couple exciting travel plans. So next weekend we're actually going to Beach Mountain to do a little ski weekend for my boyfriend's birthday. He grew up like skiing and snowboarding in that area, so very excited to go there. Then in March, I have a work trip to California, and so I am adding a couple days on the back end to be able to explore basically like LA to San Diego. So super excited to do that. I'll tell you all a little bit about what that trip is going to be when it gets a little bit closer. But I have 2 bucket list things I want to do whenever I'm there. I want to try to get surf lessons, which you can do pretty easily in Huntington Beach, which is the area that I'll stay in for the most part while I'm there. And you literally just show up at 11 a.m. to this place that they have surf lessons. The only thing is I don't 100% know what the weather's going to be like in March, so we'll see. Hopefully I'm able to do that, because the other thing I want to do is snorkel, and obviously it would have to be pretty warm for you to surf or snorkel. So we'll see, but those are like my 2 little things. So generally I also try to, if I'm going somewhere, I try to add like 1 or 2 like bucket list activities or sightseeing or whatever it is that I want to do while I'm there. So another trip that I have very little planned on is I'm doing what I'm gonna probably call like a healing trip to Arizona in April. And so I literally have nothing planned other than I've bought a ticket from Raleigh to Phoenix, and that is the extent of what I have planned. So what I want to do for that healing trip is I want to see a Reiki healer, I want to go to the vortexes, I want to go ATVing, I want to maybe try to go to like an Akashic Records reader, like all sorts of things like that you can do in a lot of really cool places in Arizona. And then I also want to, of course, see the Grand Canyon and a couple different places like that. So that is something that I literally have nothing planned other than a one-way plane ticket. I haven't even bought a plane ticket back yet, because I think I'm going to do a little road trip and then fly back from Vegas, but I haven't 100% decided yet, so I literally only have a one-way ticket booked there. So if you have any tips or tricks, or if you've ever seen a Reiki healer or had your Akashic Records read, I am so interested in just that whole process. So if you guys are interested in those sorts of things, I'll probably do a couple episodes on that over like in a couple months whenever I go. So that is really kind of everything that I have planned for this year. And then I have bucket list other trips that I want to be able to do this year. So I would love to go either to Italy or to Bali. And I know those are 2 completely different places, but I have a million places in Italy that I want to go to. And literally I could spend a month in Italy. I don't have that kind of PTO, but I would love to. So that's one place that I would love to go and just bebop around, see a ton of different places. I've never been to Europe, so that's kind of where I want to start and where I would like to spend some time at the beginning. Bali is obviously very different. Same thing, there's like 3 or 4 different places that I want to go in Bali. So much cool stuff to see and do there. Also a really cool spot for surfing and scuba diving. I've never scuba dived, I've only snorkeled, but I would love to try to scuba dive at some point if I could get the courage. So we'll see. And then another bucket list trip is my boyfriend and I want to do a little trip with his son to the beach. So we'll be working on trying to plan that at some point this summer. So that is what I have for my travel tips and tricks, my travel plans, and then some cool bucket list things that I'm going to be doing this year. So I'll share a little bit more about those trips as I get there, as they come up, probably do some videos of what it looks like when I'm doing some of these things, and then probably like some videos just like this talking about what those experiences were like, what I liked, what I hated, and what I would recommend. So that is my little travel segment, if you will. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a fabulous day and happy healing, babes.